not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General Abrams, and Spyro Agnew to eat hog maws confiscated from a Harlem sanctuary. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by the Schaefer Award Theater and will not star Natalie Woods and Steve McQueen or Bullwinkle and Julia. The revolution will not give your mouth sex appeal. The revolution will not get rid of the nubs. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because the revolution will not be televised, brother. There will be no pictures of you and Willie Mae pushing that shopping cart down the block on the dead run or trying to slide that color TV into a stolen ambulance. NBC will not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution will not be televised. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on the instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or
Blame Wendigo.
What up? We back. We back. We back at it. We back at it. Let's get it. Y'all thought I was lying, didn't you? I'm about to hit y'all with information after information on information on information on information. That's why we back. And apparently I'm gonna have to keep going live a couple times a day in order to get the algorithms on my side. I'm still not seeing anything populated on Facebook. If you over on Facebook, what groups I'm streaming in the Facebook right now? The Information Age, and the other one is the Facts Over Fairy Tales Soul Keeper on Facebook. Ain't none of them shits jumping. YouTube jumping though. All y'all tapping in with me, so that's what I'm more, you know what I'm saying, concerned with. I'm not concerned with what we don't have, concerned with what we got. Cause who needs to be here right now. You feel me? Solo 5K always checking in, man. Always tapping in. Always tapping in. You know what I'm saying? Waking soul, no sleep. What's happening? Hi, honors. Happy Holy Day. I didn't realize today was Good Friday. I don't gave a whole measure on Jesus down on the cross for Easter and didn't even think today was Good Friday. That's crazy. Knowing is half the battle. I love that. Peace, my love. What's happening? Bruce Lee always in the building. So look, here's what I want to do right quick. I want y'all to tap in and tell me where y'all from, because this lecture tonight gonna be crazy. It's gonna be powerful, and I want anybody from the East Coast, Southeast, Midwest, Southwest, Northwest corners of North America to tap in. Shout out your city, man. Or y'all put y'all city in the chat. I'm gonna shout y'all out. Peace to the gods. What's going on? Peace. Robert Jones, what's up, our guy? Ha! This move said, finally catching it live with M.O.I. Listen. Shouts out to that, first of all. Shouts out to you for catching it. Shouts out to you for catching it. Appreciate you tapping in. Listen, I'm glad you caught it, but I need you to share it though. Click the bell on YouTube, whatever notification on YouTube, so you can always get notifications. Always, you never miss one. Islam. LA by way of Tulsa. Listen, I'm glad you brought up Tulsa. I want everybody else to shout out where they from too. I already see a couple of cities we're gonna tap on. I see Duval coming up too. Everybody checking in. LA by way of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's so much rich history in Tulsa. Man, it's a lot going on in Tulsa. Tons. DC in the building. I rock with DC, man. Duval. Jacksonville. Duval. And I think, Bruce Lee, I think you already heard me break down the fact that James Oglethorpe's son, I think I went over this already. And if you already heard it before, then, you know, you can just stop. You can just stop me. My guy in the building, Copper Color King. Peace and light, homie. I think you can hear me.
I'm right here, my boy. I'm right here.
What's good, my friend? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good. So right now, just getting everybody checked in. Hey, you've been killing it over on fucking on TikTok.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
You be fucking doing your thing on TikTok. We
You
gotta pull your page up tonight.
motivated me.
Hey, when I say, oh, he going to fuck in. He researching. He going to the archives. He pulling up documents. You're not just showing pictures over there. He pulling up paperwork. I love it.
Yeah, man, we trying to push the message.
So, okay. All right, Bruce. So, I won't get back into it then. My man Bruce Lee from Duval, and I was asking, have I already told him about the whole James Oglethorpe was Robert Duval's father, and Robert Duval and your boy Jackson went down there to Jacksonville. Duval in the building though. That's what's up. Bronx in the building.
Yes, sir.
Bronx in the building.
Sir.
What's happening?
Yes, we are.
What's happening? Solo, I thought you put your address up here. I'm like, what? He put his address up here? 323 South Central, but it's not the address. My bad.
I ain't gonna lie.
South Central.
I thought that was the address.
I'm about to pull up. Solo, what's good, nigga? You got about 40, homie? Nah, I'm fucking with you, man. That's what's
How
up,
was your day
guy.
today, dog?
Man, it's been a day, bro. It's been a day, man. It's been a fucking day. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day got to end.
At the end of the day got to end. Words from Big Love.
Hold on. We got Alibaba in the building. Birmingham, Alibaba, Alabama. I was actually helped open a water park in Montgomery, Alabama. And it had to be like motherfucking a good, I don't know, man, like 60, 90 acres. I don't know what they had. A lot of land, though. And I remember being at the facility, and before they started pouring the concrete for the water park, I had to do the restaurant part of it, but they could not get clearance from a local tribe to build on some part of that land, and they had to wait. They went through the Army Corps of Engineers and still couldn't get it approved. I'm like, damn, what kind of tribe? And the tribe was akin to the Alibaba tribe, the original tribe of Alabama.
Oh,
And I was like, oh, that was crazy.
big drop.
The Indians said, y'all ain't building on this land. And them white boys could not pull one drop of concrete at all. I mean, they ended up going through like city council and, you know, whatever they went through. But it took them about a year to get this shit done, though. I'm like, damn. And I didn't even think to look into what type of sovereign power they had over that land to get the information. I didn't even find out, man. I was so busy working. But I would hear conversations that they couldn't build on the land.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts, man.
No clearance. What about you, my guy? What you got new? What new information you done unraveled?
I mean, I ain't even gonna lie. So far, I figured out. Well, actually, I did some deep diving on the history of South Carolina and Georgia. I learned a lot about the Geechee Gully. I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm butchering their name. The Guale, the Gullah.
The Geechee Gullah?
The Gullah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so funny too, because I was having this conversation with one of my family members, and they was telling me, like, yeah, you know, that tribe, you know, those is Africans and stuff. And it's like, wow, he's telling me that information. I'm like, you know, that's crazy, because I'm reading about their history right now, and they've been in South Carolina since 1150. So whatever you know, like whatever you telling me on your end, something's not adding up. You can't sit here and say that people who have been here since 1150, just because they dark skinned, like I always continue to tell everybody, that you're going to sit there and associate them with African. Just doesn't add up to me. In addition to that, I also learned more so about where the sports like lacrosse, baseball, hockey, where these sports come from. You know, who were the first people to play these sports, who technically invented these sports, who introduced these sports to the Europeans, you know. And,
right.
You know, just I'm getting more into that, and I'm trying to get on my biblical study now. I'm trying to learn more about the Bible, you know, the Bible story, more about the Bible story. You know, Genesis,
listen,
genes, genetics, stuff like that.
I fucking went in today on because you know the big thing now is Easter, By the way, if you're not following my guy over on TikTok, go rock with my man's right now. I think you just like the information on there is fucking crazy. Like a lot of information on there. Check him out, man. Copper Color King over on TikTok. You got to go follow him right now. Follow, subscribe, click the notification button, whatever the fuck TikTok got going over there. Look at all the information on it. This right here really, really, really was powerful right here. The elder lady right here, because I got an elder gentleman on my Instagram page, and he was basically like, I'm gonna die Indian. He was like 84 years old. Like, I'm Indian. I don't care what they say. Like, I know what I am. You know what I mean? And this one right here was powerful though, man. Like, they had their own songs and everything back then. I'm like, damn.
And it's crazy because nobody would ever even, my bad, I don't mean to cut you off, bro. Now I was saying it's crazy that people like we weren't taught any of this information. So for everybody that has that high school historical educated mindset, you literally got to take all of that, debunk it, throw it in the trash, and like pick up on new information. Like who would have thought that our elders, you know, bits and pieces of that information still remained in their memory? It's people coming at me that video still to this day, but calling me a pretendian and stuff like that. It is what it is, man. I know the truth.
A pretendian. Well, tonight I think we should deal with some of the vocabulary because we're not Indians. We're not Indians. Nor are we Native Americans.
Let them know, bro.
They're literally, we can trace the word back to when they first started using it. And the people who were already here before the Europeans got here never said they were any of that shit. They never, like, what the fuck is that? And see, that's called an exonym. An exonym is a name given by an outside group of people to another group of people. An endonym is what the group of people call themselves and refer to themselves as. Europeans have been giving out exonyms. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't who we are. So when they say Indian and Native American, we have to be careful with that language because that's just like people saying that they are Aboriginal. You're not Aboriginal. You're Aborigine. That's a different word. Aboriginal means away from, original, away from the original ones. Native Americans are Aboriginal. Indians are Aboriginal. They're not the original. They're Aboriginal. Now, Aborigine is a different word altogether. So again, we have to be careful with when we're talking this English language because English is equivocal. It's an equivocal language. And until we fully understand how that language, the lexicon of the language, we're going to be trapped behind titles and names and everything.
Cast the spell on ourselves.
Yeah. But see, you remember how they said when the slaves couldn't read or write or whatever the case is, y'all bringing this new fucking language over here. Of course we can't read this. What the fuck is this? Can you imagine being here? You like 50 years old, a Native American, your first time seeing a European, and they trying to tell you about vowels and A-E-I-O-U. Like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
Confusing.
I don't know what y'all saying. Go ahead.
No, I was saying it's confusing. It's confusing.
Yeah, for sure. And then, but anyway, the shit I dealt with today was crazy, man. But yeah, if you need some information on that biblical stuff, boy, I went the fuck in because they saying that Jesus died on the cross, but I was giving them, I was just going straight from the Bible, showing them how he didn't die on the cross. That shit was lit though.
Oh man, I can only imagine. I can only imagine. That's a big drop.
Had their ways, but yeah, I learned to ignore it and go ahead.
So because everyone in school is black.
They're black. But different complexion, blacks come in different colors.
Right, so she was lighter, and they okay.
They called her Indian. What
kind of Indian do you know?
Tell him how you got picked on at school because you was light skinned. And I couldn't help it. They picked on me. But I made it okay. I made it okay. So were they mean to you because you were light? Some of them were, but all of them wasn't. It was some, had their ways, but
Yeah.
I learned to ignore it and go ahead,
So because everyone in school was black?
They're black, but different complexion. Blacks come in different colors.
Right, so she was lighter, and they, okay.
They called her high yellow.
A man in the background said she got Indian in her.
And, and the craziest part about that video, bro, is that he laughed and joked about it, like as if it was like he said, "What tribe?" and Sunset Blackfoot, and started laughing like it's a joke. Like it's a joke, but in reality, even if it's not Indian, whatever it may be that is in her blood, it's in her blood. And that's the history that's often hidden, not often hidden, it's hidden completely. That's why a lot of people now are under that spell, psychoneurosis, personality
disorder. Absolutely. Yeah, this one right here, I got on my other page.
So are you telling me, sir, that you are not African? You don't have no African blood or nothing?
I have no African. I don't know what my daddy was. He raped my mother, I guess. He stole a piece from her because she was pretty. Oh, incidentally, my mother was very fair, almost white, blue veins, red hair. But she still was a Cherokee Indian. She had no white in her at all.
Big drop.
Part of the nation.
Period. No period. My man said she part of the nation. Period. Y'all gotta go over to my man page, man. I'm telling you, look, it's just scores and scores and scores of information, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Right knowledge.
I appreciate
it. With my guy. But so what was the last thing you researched? What was the last thing you looked into when it came to just the indigenous format? Like,
okay.
What was the last thing you saw?
Last thing I went into actually was the Louisiana parishes, basically what different tribes made up of these different parishes that was in Louisiana. For most people don't know, just to let y'all know, it's probably like about 20-something parishes in Louisiana alone. And a parish is basically like, if I'm not mistaken, an area that is backed by, I think, the church or whatever the case may be. That's how I Googled it, something like that. That's what a parish is. So they have about 20 to 30 something parishes in Louisiana alone. And I learned that in the 1800s, majority of the people that was residing in these parishes, they would be known now as Indians. People would know them today as Indians, and they were reclassified to black in 1810.
Damn.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I found this video. Is this dude? He went back to one of the parishes in Louisiana. He moved out of Louisiana, went back to trace down his genealogy, and he went to his grandmom's crib, and on the wall inside his grandma's crib, he got this picture of this white-skinned dude. You would think he's a white-skinned dude, but he's really a mulatto, somebody that's my complexion or maybe a little lighter, something like in between maybe me and you, bro, or like a little bit lighter. And he found out that in fact it was not a white man, that it was a Choctaw Indian. And he, the discovery, it astounded him. And one thing that he said that stuck out to me that I'm trying to tell people now is that he said he will no longer continue to classify himself as black. Like, you see,
that's important, man. But our people, they I don't know, bro. They still want to go by these ambiguous terms, Negro, black, and colored. And as it was taught to me, as I learned, Noble Drew Ali had taught that we are not Negro, black, and colored. Those were titles given to by slaveholders in 1776. And for a long time, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I said, oh, the reclassification happened a couple different times. We got reclassified a couple different times, bro.
Right.
And Louisiana has a deep-seated history with the importation that the French were bringing into. And see, a lot of people go straight to Louisiana, which is cool. The settlements actually began in Alabama.
Right. Alabama, right.
And then they came into Louisiana with this situation. But Louisiana got the mounds down there, like Poverty Point. You got a Poverty Point yet? You said that yet?
Saw that one. Yep.
Poverty Point, and Poverty Point go all the way up to Illinois. So
Right.
like it's been going on for a long time, bro. Like a long time. And Louisiana was actually the first state or colony that invoked what was called Code Noir.
Yeah, Code Noir. Yeah, black codes.
Yeah, Code Noir, which South Carolina copied that for the Christian black codes.
And I don't want to cut you off, big bro. I just want to point
Right.
something out real quick. I think this is just
Please.
really funny because you just mentioned it, but I was just talking about this probably like about 20 minutes ago. So the Creoles, right, are what people must know as like mulattoes, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Kinda.
Okay, so
Creoles.
Mhm.
What you're talking about is an amalgamation between the Africans and the French who made Creole, and the mulattoes were just white Europeans and African slaves or whatever. So that was the difference, because you had octroons also, octroons, quadroons, and mulattoes.
Right.
Go ahead.
And I saw a word too, something like métis, several different things, and these was words by the French. But what I'm basically trying to say is that, being that we were colonized by 3-4 different factions, however you want to talk about it, however people want to talk about it, there's a chance that a lot of the terms that was given to us during this reclassification period could have been different had we been under French colonialization or under Spanish domination and stuff like that around that time. So it's just more proof that add on to the theory that a lot of these names or these terms are just given. They just give them, pass them out to us as in a way to classify us, give us their own classification, thus moving us away from who we know that we truly are.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can't stress it enough. We have to keep in mind the time frames. Anytime we talk about anything, you have to ask when. What was the time frame? Because the word white was not even in usage at all until Johann Blumenbach. And this is the late 1889s, before the 1900s. Johann Blumenbach, Samuel Martin, a couple other ones, I think of the name in a second. But he was the first one to use the term Caucasian. The idea of white was not a thing. And this was to understand, like, these were the colonies. These were Europeans, British settlers. These were Spaniards. These were Dutch. These were every other country coming over here to America. So there was no black and white, y'all, at that point in time. I'm talking about this early 1700s, 1600s, 1500s even. The 1400s, when Colombo, the Italian, came over here. You either was for the crown or you wasn't for the crown. That was it. That's why in the early 1700s, when people like Crispus Attucks, who was a full-blooded, I'm going to say Indian, colloquial meaning Indian, for the sake of the conversation. Crispus Attucks got shot or killed, right, for trying to enforce civil rights. This ain't 1965 civil rights. Same premise. This is the 1700s. He was one of the civil rights activists. Crispus Attucks was. He was also a Methodist preacher. You're going to see a lot of people of color of that time frame being Methodist preachers, not Baptist preachers or this new stuff they got going on, right? Crispus Attucks gets popped. The next active person in history that gets active after Crispus Attucks gets shot is Prince Hall. Prince Hall comes to America with his slave master, William P. Hall. At this time in the watch this. I'll pull this shit up for y'all. And I'm gonna come back to this free people of color to go back to Louisiana. Watch this. What's his name? Prince Hall was a fair-skinned man also. I'm gonna show you all the fair-skinned so-called Negroes listen, write this down. My disciples, get your pens and your papers and write this down. Chris Master G, what's up, brother? Peace and love. Write this down. At the top of your paper, you're gonna write 16C. It represents the 16th century. That's the 1500s.
Oh, got that 16C. That do you know?
Give some space in between. Out beside that, you're gonna write 18C, 18th century, which is the 1700s. And then finally, your third column, you're gonna write 19C, 19th century, which is the 1800s. So we're gonna go from 16, 17, 1800. That's the time frame we're gonna deal with. And we're gonna talk about world history. I got in a conversation with this Uber driver the other night, white guy, pretty knowledgeable, but he was stuck in one perspective of time. And before I got the car, the brother tipped his hat and said, "Brother, you know a lot." I said, "No, I don't know a lot. It's just he was so stuck in the medieval period of Europe that he couldn't come out of Europe." So I'm asking him questions about what was going on over here. He didn't know. So for you guys listening to us tonight, like, don't get boxed into one area. Like, you have to know world history. Anyway, Prince Hall arrives in America. They say that he was an American abolitionist. The abolitionists got started from people who were involved, called the Quakers. So think of Quakers and abolitionists in the 1700s and 1800s during the time of slavery, most in the 1700s. Think of them as white liberals. This is all political. So don't get in your feelings. This is just political. Politics and politics. They say that he is a leader. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it'd give a new perspective on what on these abolitionists that we learn in school that are so-called heroes and stuff like that. Give a perspective.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. But it don't though. I'm telling what they were. He said he's a free black leader in community in Boston. He founded Prince Hall Freemasonry and lobbied for education rights in African American children. He also was active in the Back to Africa movement. The first lodge was called African Lodge 449. Prince Hall was from Barbados. He was not from North America, from Barbados. His father was a mahogany wood maker, furniture maker. This is Prince Hall. He was a fair-skinned person. Brought to America by his slave master, William P. Hall. And without going into the Freemasonry side of things, Prince Hall was not the first black Mason, okay? Let's just cut that bullshit out right now. And I'm standing on business with that. Prince Hall was not the first black Mason. He formed African Lodge 449. It's the number. They ain't put it up there. He was born between 1735 and 1738. His place of birth is unclear. He's from Barbados. You have the Prince Hall Grand Lodge in Massachusetts because most people from the islands will either go to Massachusetts, New Jersey. I'm sorry, let me call it by its name back then before you get confused. They would go to New Hampshire and New England, they call it.
Yep.
That's why the New England Patriots are not in fucking Europe. They're over here.
Yep.
Okay. These were the locations. So you had Massachusetts, which was Boston area. Now, I want you guys to keep in your head 1738. Prince Hall, Grand Lodge, Massachusetts, in the proceedings of 1906 opted for 1738, relying on a letter from Reverend John Blanken, the founder of Massachusetts Historical Society, so on and so forth. Now, watch this. Watch how you got to read. It said Prince Hall was an American abolitionist and a leader of a free black community. Check out the free blacks. They were never slaves. You see the dark-skinned lady and the little light-skinned girl beside her? The little light-skinned girl beside her would be considered what's known as a mulatto. In the British colonies, North America and the United States, before the abolishment of slavery in 1865, free Negroes or free blacks describe the legal status of African Americans who were not enslaved. A couple things just happened. They called them 3 different fucking names in one sentence. They called them Negro, Black, and African American. But it also said the legal status. This was the legal status of the free black community. So Prince Hall only dealt with this community. He didn't deal with the niggas on the plantation. And nor did any other person worth mentioning, like Marcus Garvey. They didn't deal with the niggas on the plantation. They dealt with a certain group of people. These are the free blacks. They were either former slaves or they never were slaves in the first place. So everybody during the 1800s were not slaves of color. And I'm only harping on this because the status of these people were not even black yet. They were still something else. You made that point earlier, bro, where you said depending on who came in, like the Spaniards said Negro.
Yeah. I was just about to say, to touch bases on that is all about who was colonizing at the time. And also in addition to that, what people have to understand is that if you go look back at the 1790 census, I just put the link in the chat for y'all. There's actually sections that shows these categories, and you have 4 sections, right? You got white males under 18, white males over 18, slaves, and free people of color. 4 categories, straight up like that. And if you go down the timeline going into the 1800s, what do you see? The term slave transitions into black and Negro, and then free people of color transitions into mulatto.
And it said it was a legal status. A legal status. Everything bro just said and everything thing just said aligns. So what I'm gonna show y'all first, I have to walk y'all through it because I we're not here to entertain people. We're here to actually teach you a little bit of something. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, I'm attempting to show you how there was no allegiance to black or white at this point in time. Prince Hall saw black men who were Masons already from Europe. Prince Hall saw other black men who were already Masons from Europe, and he wanted to join them. But these red coats from Europe, I can show improve. There were red coats in the colony. These are the colonies. This is what time frame I said? 1700s. Yep. Remember, they haven't quite went to war with Europe yet. Crispus Attucks get shot. Boston Tea Party about to happen here in a second. So all you had was Europe, and there were no black people, white people yet. That's what I'm saying. Like the status of them. Now there were people here. People don't act stupid. I mean, come on now. People were here, but what I'm saying is the legal status of black and white African American was not even a thing to 1884, 82, 86. I think it was Jesse Jackson. The term black was not even in use yet. The term Negro just started happening because of the Spaniards, the Latin from Moreno. You see what I'm saying? So like there were no names yet. These people were loyal to the crown. That was it. So now Prince Hall seeks to join the lodge of the York Rite. These are black men of color, free men of color from Europe. They're redcoats. The redcoats were here for a little bit of a minute, if you recall history. 1776, the redcoats were everywhere, all over the shores. Prince Hall saw the redcoats. The redcoats is the one who shot Crispus Attucks, by the way. This is the kickoff. This is the kickoff of all this shit. And any Prince Hall Mason can tell you the supposed story of Prince Hall and the Boston Tea Party. When was the Boston Tea Party? Look at the time frame. Look at the time frame once again. So anyway, Prince Hall sees these British troops and tries to join their lodge, and they basically denied him access to join the lodge, even though they were the same color skin folks, that's your kin folks. Definitely. Because Prince Hall was not free. Prince Hall was the leader of the free black community, but Prince Hall was not free yet. Watch this, early life. Where it is, right here. Hall's birthday is traditionally celebrated September 14th. Hall's early years are unclear. Historian Charles H. Wesley, a European, theorized by the age of 11, Prince Hall was enslaved. Prince Hall was enslaved and brought here by his master, William Hall. I'm only laughing because I'm showing y'all this shit. William Hall, by 1770, he was free. Prince Hall was freed 6 years before the Revolutionary War. I was just telling y'all the time frames. 1700s, Prince Hall was here. Keep 1700 Prince Hall in your mind. I'm going to show you one more thing, and I'm going to yield the floor. Watch this. Oh, I already got it pulled up. But anyway, I'll do it right here.
That was a big drop, too.
1700. King Philip's War, also known as the American Indian Wars. Now, this picture is fucking misleading. It looks like they're out there shooting plain Indians. And those people behind them shooting are not cowboys. Those are U.S. Marshals. But the picture is so deceiving if you don't know history, because we didn't even go out west to shoot the plain Indians into the 1800s. 1849 gold rush is when it happened. Manifest Destiny when it happened. So the picture is fucking misleading. The time frame was 1600s. There were no people out west at all. These are plain Indians on bareback horses.
Of course,
any type of so-called.
Though.
Go ahead, bro.
I was saying, of course, they're gonna paint it in their narrative.
But you know the psycho negrosis with that, bro, is I can remember as a child, we were always rooting for the Indians to get killed. Nobody wanted to play the Indians.
Right.
Everybody wanted to be. That's the psycho negro. That's the psyops. You were black as your grandma is sitting there with Indian hair. And your grandma Indian, Native American, what you want to call it. And you out here playing the cowboy, killing your ancestors.
Teach you to hate yourself.
That's how deep that shit is, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that we were the I'm a cowboy. Anyway, a 19th century colored wood cut depicted Native American attack. Anyway, date 1675 to 1678. Now, under your column for 16th century, I think we went that far back. 16C. You're gonna write this date down. You're gonna write 1675 to 1678, and you're gonna write down King Philip's War, or what's called American Indian War, American Indian Wars. These are all the tribes who were on the East Coast. Wampanoag. It's the sister right here. You see her? Y'all see the sister? You see her skin tone? Now you get what the elder was saying in the interview earlier about her skin tone, how they picked on her. But I'm gonna show you how we got to this color Indian in a minute. Nipmunks, Podonks, the Narragansetts, the Nashaway, the Wenabaks, Wabanaki.
Mm-hmm.
Their commander in chief,
King Philip himself,
Metacom. Now Metacom and the Wampanoag, that's a whole other tribe, Wampanoag. But these were mostly Algonquian speaking people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show you the Algonquian language also. 1678, it did not end at 78. They got it 3 years. This King Philip's War. Watch this. The 100-year Indian War. The 100-year Indian War. These wars went on. It's that same picture. 1609 to 1890. This is how long this war went on. I'm showing you time references when it was, Prince Hall, 17 something. I forgot what it was. Let me go back to this real quick. So from 1609 to 1890, in between you got the 1700s. So the Indians are fighting. These are 100-year Indian War fighting. And in the midst of the 100-year Indian War, Prince Hall is here talking to Crispus Attucks. Attucks gets shot. Prince Hall tries to become a York Rite Mason with these black Masons from Europe who had red coats on. They said, no, you got to go join the Irish Rite. All this is happening in the same motherfucking time frame. That's my point I'm making with y'all. All this is happening all together. The Indians are still fighting with the Europeans. Prince Hall's over here. Boston Tea Party is happening. They are displacing, or by 1812, they are displacing the so-called Indians out of Georgia, South Carolina. They're pushing them out west to gain more territory. All this stuff is happening at the same time. And that's how you have to learn history, family. You have to learn history like this. You have to understand there are multiple things going on at one time in a certain time period. The Amerindians. That's the words you need to write down. The Amerindians. Amerindians. This is how you're going to find the information you're looking for. To get the right answer, you got to ask the right question. These are the Amerindians. Amerindians. The indigenous people of the Americas, all three of them, Central, South, and North, are the people that inhabited Americas before the arrival of European settlers in the 15th century, which is the 1400s. And the ethnic groups who continue to identify themselves with those people. The indigenous people of the Americas are diverse. Some indigenous people were hunter-gatherers, while the other traditionally practiced agriculture, aquaculture. In some regions, indigenous people created pre-contact monumental architect, large-scale organized cities, city-states, chiefdoms, states, kingdoms, republics, confederacies, and empires. All that was going on over here simultaneously at the same time. The empire was still here when Prince Hall got here. The empire was still here during the War of 1812. And the empire is still here in 2024.
Yeah. Yes, they are.
But they don't want to claim it, bro. Nobody wants to claim it.
At the end of the day, it's really all about, like you said, doing the historical research. A lot of stuff people not going to understand anyway, because the information that's being put out now and the information that you could have picked up on 20, 30 years ago, is gaps in between. There's so many gaps in between, and it's so many different things that are mislead folks, you know, point people in a different direction. But one thing I want to point out, when you highlighted that Amerindian part, just people got to pay attention to how many different tribes, how many different groups of people that lie within those tribes. Like, most people only know it to be like the 5 civilized tribes, which was that's the Siberian Native American. That's what they created. That's what they got going on over there, whatever the case may be. But people don't understand that within one tribal branch, like you said, Algonquin speaking peoples, about 5, 6, 7 different tribes, groups of peoples who all congregated with one another. They traded with each other. They intermarried. You know, a lot of societies did things as a culture. You know, they were peaceful people. Crazy.
Hold on. $62 million.
That's crazy.
Where they go, y'all?
They still, yo, come on, man. Like, nah, they gonna say they killed 62 million people and replaced them with straight Africans.
They didn't bring 62 million Africans over here to replace these 62 million indigenous people.
Impossible.
Don't y'all believe that? $62 million? Come on, man.
They had more Indians going out of America than they had Africans coming into America. Aboriginal people.
A lot of people don't know that.
They don't. And I want to piggyback off what you said too about the term Aboriginal and Aborigine. When you think about the people or the people native to Australia that are from Australia, we refer to them as Aborigines, right? The Aborigines of Australia.
Yeah, they're referred to as Aborigine, not Aboriginal.
They're from Australia, and that's their land. You know, that's kind of like to touch bases with what you were saying. That's kind of the term that we want to use when we refer to the people that belong to this specific thing.
When it comes to so-called black people phenotype, we only know Africoid.
Right.
And the only reason we only know Africoid is because of, I'm going to show you who. There's a couple of them, but I'm going to show you mainly who.
Africanus. Right.
This is the father of African American history. He's the reason you think that. Pseudoscience. And that's what I'm saying, man. It be getting me so fucking tight. Like, people just be talking. I'm like, what the? They can't give you no meat or substance.
Nothing.
How many of y'all knew about Franz Boas? Press 111 if you knew about Franz Boas. So give me a 111 to comment if you already knew who he was, or you know who he is. If you don't,
I got a better one for them, bro. Look, y'all can even Google this yourself, right? In addition to Franz Boas, Google what is the original name for Africa. African people who lived in Africa before Christ didn't even call Africa Africa. Africa is a term given to Africa by Romans during the Roman conquest. Y'all could Google that too. So when you're talking about this African people, whatever the case may be, it all goes back to the names and whatever the case may be, just giving out different names and whatever the case may be. Like,
it's crazy.
How can we be Africans if even historically and based off their ancestry, the people over there wouldn't even consider their own country by the name of Africa?
This is what he said. Franz Boas is was a German-American anthropologist and pioneer, a modern anthropology, who has been called the father of American anthropology. His work associated with movements known as historical particularism and cultural relativism. He's the reason that you have African American history, or just African history in the first place. Let me not say he's the reason. He's a contributor. Boas was one of the most prominent opponents of then popular ideology, scientific racism. This is how you stop hearing so much about Indians in America, being from America, and your grandma them. This was the start of it right here. Scientific racism, which is a made-up fucking study, pseudoscience, sometimes termed biological racism, is a pseudoscience. That means it's not fucking real. Belief that human species can be subdivided biologically distinct taxa called races. This is where you get the separation from black people, Africoid, Mongoloid, because right after this, I'm going to show you who Francis Galting is. If you don't know who Francis Galting is, if you don't know who Samuel Morton is, if you don't know who, what's his name? I'll think of his name in a second. I'm going to give you about 4 or 5 people to write down. You want to get to the meat and potatoes, get to the root of what the fuck happened with our indigenous ancestors here in North America. You have to study all of it, because this is part of it. Because shortly after this, we get shit like eugenics, which was the early 1900s in America. And that came from, what was it called? The American Birth Control League, which then gets in bed with Margaret Sanger, which then gives the blueprint to Germany on how to exterminate the Yahudis over there. I can show you that. I can show you Hitler attributed to the American eugenics movement the blueprint for how to get rid of the so-called Jews. This shit is deep. Then I'm gonna show you the guy Francis Galting is the nephew of Darwin, who gives you Darwinism. Again, subdivision of race inferiority. Francis Boas is the empirical. He said the empirical evidence exists to support or justify racism, racial inferiority, or racial superiority. I just told you in the 1700s, there was no black and white people. There was no race. That shit was, you either belonged to England or it was your country, nigga.
Right.
Rep your hood, not your skin tone. So I apologize for the tangent, but I'm just trying to show y'all. Oh, Solo. We haven't even got to Walter Plecker yet.
Yeah,
Walter Plecker's 1920.
Walter Plecker, that's a big one right there.
But see, Walter Plecker and who I just showed you, and I'm about to show you Francis Galting, all these motherfuckers were around the same time period, bro. Just let me cook for 1 second. This is around the same time period, bro. And if y'all ever want to crack the code to this shit, man, study the first, second, and third Great Awakening in America. Look it up. I'm gonna show you right now. What was the third Great Awakening? (1890 to 1930). Off the heels of this right here, and along with scientific racism being proved, the inferiority complex of the so-called Native American, African American, indigenous people in America went through the floor. New groups emerged, such as the Holiness Movement, the Nazarene, the Pentecostal movement, the Jehovah's Witness, the Spiritualism, the Theosymphony, Thelma, Christian Science. The era saw an adaptation of a number of moral causes, such as abolition of slavery and prohibition. This is the 1850s, all the way to the early 20th century, 1900. It's called the Third Great Awakening. And I'm showing y'all how all this shit is tied together. It's called the Third Great Awakening. Hold on. Third Great Awakening.
Big bro is cooking, y'all.
According to the University of Chicago Press, Third Great Awakening, 1890 to 1930, shift from emphasis on personal to social sin, rise in belief that poverty is not a personal failure, the wages of sin, but a societal failure that can be addressed by the state, shift to more secular interpretation of the Bible and creed.
Then they went to then they went to prove it in the Bible how Native Americans are heathens. Look at the time frame, 1890. Now, remember Third Great Awakening, which is the largest religious movement in North America. The first Great Awakening was when the Puritans, remember? The Puritans and the Quakers and the Christians and the Brownists came over here on a pilgrimage. And the Puritans were basically leaving Europe because they got pissed off that a new Bible had been printed in 1535 by Miles Coverdale, which replaced the old Geneva Bible, King Henry VIII Bible. The Puritans got pissed off and left. Shortly after, Martin Luther, the Lutheran Church, separated from the Church of England. See, all this is happening at this is world history. Not just what happened in Buckfuck, Georgia, but what was happening all over the world. Because this was a world dominant sport. These Europeans were not playing the radio. We know about Columbus coming over here, right? Why don't you ever hear anything about Marco Polo going over to China, to Asia, let's say Asia, and exchanging noodles? If it wasn't for Marco Polo, they wouldn't have noodles in Asia in exchange for gunpowder. And that's how they went to fucking war. Because see, the Europeans were not allowed to go on the Silk Route. The Silk Route went through the top of Africa, through India, through Asia. That's all the spices and gold and myrrh and shit was out there being traded. The Europeans had to go around the Horn of Africa. They couldn't go through the Silk Route. But all this stuff is happening at the same time. Between the time frames I gave y'all to write down earlier, you have to know that whole time frame of history. Because too much shit happened. Also with the Third Great Awakening, during the 1890, 1930, you had the Moorish Science Temple. You had the Old Canaanite Temple. The Nation of Islam comes out of the Third Great Awakening. All these organizations to organize certain groups of people under dogmatic decrees come out of the Third Great Awakening. Facts.
And I got a question.
Look
too.
at this.
Didn't
Please. Good notes.
Didn't my brother I forgot his name, but didn't he build a temple? We were speaking about him on the last one we did together. Oh man, I forgot his name. Malachi Z. York. Didn't he build a temple?
Yeah, but York came later in the 80s.
Okay.
York was a musician. I think it was the musician earlier. The Moorish Temple, it was called the Moorish Temple of Science. Scientology came out of this too, out of the Third Great Awakening. Bro said the price of wool doubled. Yep.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
wool and cotton. Yep.
No, that's fact. Hey, Chaz Z, after the Civil War, when a lot of those plantations were like ran over and burnt up from the Union, a lot of those Jews came down and basically did leftover cotton and made wool from it. It will sell blankets to the vets and open up stores and shops along those certain plantation areas. And then the Negroes who were returning back to places like Georgia and Carolina, those who came back to their land because they were ran off the land during the Civil War, those who didn't choose to fight with the Confederacy. The War Department said it was fucked up. Let's offer them 40 acres and a mule to help plow the fields for more cotton. Do everybody get 40 acres and a mule? Fuck no. Just the landowners, the black landowners who are already down here. If they want it, they can get it. A couple of them took it. A couple of them said, fuck y'all, I'm still in Oklahoma. Yes. Chad Z already on it, boy. Carpetbaggers and scallywags. That's what they call them. That's a fact.
You always got somebody in your stream going crazy.
Listen, man, they be on it. So,
good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
Third Great Awakening. Keep that written down, man. 1890 to 1930. Franz Boas. You should have him wrote down too. I'm gonna give you another one. I'm gonna give you two more names. Who was Francis Galting? Francis Galting. Now, Francis Galting was a eugenist, but watch the time frame. If I can get to it, hold on. I'm not talking about his. Okay, let's go here. Fuck it. Galting. It says Galton's family life was happy, and he gratefully acknowledged that he owed much of his father and mother. He owed. Go up a little bit so I can see it. But he had little use of conventional classic religious teaching he received in school and church. Indeed, he later confessed in a letter to his cousin English naturalist Charles Darwin. Galton's parent had planned that he should study medicine. He didn't do that. I'm trying to get to what he's talking about. Get to the fucking nuggets. Although Galton made contributions to many fields of knowledge, eugenics remained his fundamental interest. Francis Galting, write him down. Also, write down where it go. I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. Write down eugenics. The word eugenics. If you ever want to know what happened to the Native Americans and the Indians, they gave them smallpox blankets and shit like that. What is that called? Francis Quest Welsing, God rest her soul, gave you a form of what it could be called: genetic annihilation. Write down eugenics. Eugenics is often treated as an expression of a class of prejudice. Now, I just showed y'all the other European dude, Franz Boas, who was a devout racist and based his whole studies on dividing the races based on racism. Now I'm giving you a prejudice as Francis Galting, who is one of the prime users of this idea of eugenics.
I look like a devil.
And this is all happening in the late 1800s, early 1900s. 1865, Abraham Lincoln gave the emancipation. Okay, what else was going on in 65? Fuck all that emancipation shit. What else was happening in America in 65 to 1901? What was happening? I'm giving y'all the 40, 35, 42 years of history right here. Don't get locked into just the fact that slaves are being freed and all the other shit. All this was going on, bro. Have you ever heard of Francis Galton?
As you sit here doing the breakdown, I'm over here doing the research. I mean, researching as much as I can about that man right now. He looks like a real life devil, though.
I'm gonna give you another one.
And speaking of what's going on during the 1800s, you know, we got Trail of Tears, 1835. That's what we can't forget about that one.
Who was that?
Oh no, I was saying we had the Trail of Tears in 1835.
Oh, yeah, but the setup for the 1835 was 1812.
Right.
1812 was the setup for that. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like all this is happening. Like the Trail of Tears is happening in 35, but we're celebrating in 65. Emancipation Proclamation. No, 30 years prior to that, nigga, they just excavated the whole plot of Georgia. They kicked everybody off. They pushed them out. Here's another one. Write them down. Johann Friedrich Blumenbach.
Johann Friedrich Blumenbach. His time period is the 1800s as well, correct?
Yes. Yep. Sure. Everybody gonna show you in that time frame. Which then I'm gonna give you Samuel Morton one more. Then I'm gonna set you up for the early 1900s when they begin to reclassify people based on their phenotype, their wide nose, thick lips, and dark skin. But these motherfuckers I'm showing y'all now gave America the blueprint on how to judge people and to relegate them to certain sections of society based on status, because there was never a thing in the colonies. You wouldn't know black nigga. You was just the fuck. That wasn't even a thing. It was unheard of.
You was a commodity. Let's put it that way.
No, what I'm saying is, in the 1600s, you had free people of color in America, like free white people over here. You had enslaved white people, enslaved Negroes, like.
Yep.
But nobody was thinking black and white people. It wasn't black or white. Either you had money, either you was a landowner, or you weren't a landowner. That's how you get the first black slave owner. What's his name?
Anthony Johnson.
Anthony Johnson, who was a indentured servant, worked his 7 years, got some land, and got some slaves his goddamn self. And his first slave, John Punch, he owned him for life. So if you got people...
He actually went to court to fight to own that dude for life too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Because it was in his right, because the dude was his property.
Right.
The dude was his property. Yeah. Watch this. The largest number, 152 slaves, were owned by widow C. Richards and her son P.C. Richard, who owned the largest sugarcane plantation. Another black slave, Mangat, in Louisiana. Over 100 slaves were Anthony. I can keep going with these black slave owners. Let's please cut the shit about crackers owning niggas picking cotton. That's a lie. What you did have was black planters who got duped out their land. Some of them left off the land due to what's his name? Andrew Jackson. And once they left the land, it was declared abandoned. Once the land became abandoned land, white squatters sat on the land. And when those Negroes came back to their land or for their land, they were no longer in charge. Even though it's your land, if you want to work your land, you'll be doing it for work. And a lot of them agreed to do that. Hell, it's still my property. Them white boys ain't finna plant shit or pick nothing. That's what I'm telling y'all. When they start telling y'all that Africans were brought here from Africa to pick cotton, ask them when did they get here, because cotton didn't even pop off yet. 1700s, no cotton. 1600s, no cotton. 1808, no cotton.
Big fact.
Why 1808? 1808, they outlawed the importation of Negroes from Africa in the first place.
Right.
So who the fuck who growing this cotton? Who growing the corn? Who growing the tomatoes? Who growing the collard greens? Who growing all this stuff? Africans can't grow shit here yet. They don't have an almanac to know how to grow nothing yet.
They have no
Them
knowledge.
dark-skinned indigenous people,
No knowledge of geography.
come on now. Them Geechee Gullah with that gold rice in Carolina. The Yamakra. The Yamakra were the first ones they met when they came over here in Georgia. The Yamasee, the Wichita, the Seminole, the Miamians, all of them were amalgamated cultures from the Caribs. A couple of Taino tribes were mixed in there too. Again, this was an empire, y'all. This was an empire kingdom. It wasn't just no podunk little Indians sitting twiddling their thumbs with bow and arrows. And these strong white men came on the shore and just took over. No, sir. No, sir. 100 years or more of fighting, chemical warfare, disease warfare. These white pilgrims are cutting off food chain supplies. They playing dirty.
They killed all the buffalo.
On purpose to run the Plain Indians out of the way.
Yep.
But see, we have to go according to geography and understand that they couldn't even get out there to the Plain Indians. They had to hire the Buffalo Soldiers to get them niggas. Why did the Buffalo Soldiers have to go corral the other Indians out there? Because they look just like them. Let me show you.
Nah, bro, you be walking shit down. That's crazy. I remember seeing that.
Before we go, write this name down.
Get in the notes, y'all. Get in the notes.
The richest black slave owner in Louisiana. That's right. Richer than the white boys. Way richer than them. Because y'all thinking race. This is how you know people, the psychoneurosis is real, because even within history, or conversating or debating with somebody, their minds are so warped. They think that back in the 1800s, all dark-skinned niggas just picking cotton and rolling along, boss. They showed you the movie 12 Years a Slave and nobody got it.
Yo, that's crazy.
In the entire movie, 12 Years a Slave, they showed you niggas getting whipped, niggas getting chased by dogs, niggas getting off of ships, niggas coming on shore, niggas getting bought, niggas getting sold, and they didn't go to Africa not one fucking time the whole movie. They showed you the slave ship with the guy, the main character got off the slave ship. He came from DC.
Right.
Remember, they tricked him. He lived in New York. The two white boys tricked him to come to DC. He played the violin in DC. He got drunk. They threw him in the fucking a sailor with these other Negroes. And they like, nigga, you got kidnapped. And when he got off the ship, 12 Years a Slave, they were in Louisiana. When they got off the ship, they were in Louisiana. That's when the white, you don't remember, go back and watch the movie. That's when the white dude asked his name, and the white dude slapped the fuck out of him and gave him another name. That's what they did to the entire population. They slapped the fuck out of us and gave us a whole new name. I passed the mic.
Nah, I was just gonna say that like that right there, that was a good point, my brother, because I need to really think about that. If they saying that majority of these slaves came from Africa or whatever the case may be, why in a movie such as 12 Years a Slave they bring your son from the East Coast down south to Louisiana. What transatlantic, exchange of slaves is happening within that entire point? And to think about that, and it happens in many other movies. I actually was about to post a clip from a movie that that I've seen not too long ago, and basically, homegirl was basically saying that she wanted her mom to be proud of their African roots, and the mom had to stop her and let her know, like, hold on, baby, like, your great grandmother was an Iroquois to the bone.
Cicely Tyson.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, to the bone. And I'm like, okay, it's just stuff like that. Like, they put it in the movies, they hide it in the TV shows, and people still aren't able to lift the veils and see clearly, see through all of that stuff. Break down
domestic slave trade. I got some more timestamps for y'all. Between 1790 and 1860, that's 5 years before Emancipation Proclamation. 1860s, about 42 years after they outlawed the international import of Negroes. 1790 to 1860. Now remember 1790, the American Indian War is still happening. I want y'all to keep that in mind now. There's still a war happening. The war hasn't stopped. The war hasn't ceased. While everything that me and bro was talking about, we're showing y'all, there's still a 100-year Indian War happening right now as we're talking. Between these fucking time frames right here. You understand me? 1790 to 1860, approximately 835,000 slaves were relocated to the American South. 835,000.
Come on now.
That's almost a million so-called Negroes, black folks, colored folks, Indian, Native American people of color were relocated from Newark, New Jersey, Bronx, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, even Washington, D.C., Boston, Massachusetts, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. They were taken against their own free will in the court and relocated. So I said it before, and I will keep saying this shit. When they told you that slaves would run to North for freedom, they were only saying these niggas were running back home. That's it. They kidnap you from New York, and you get kidnapped, and they bring you to fucking Atlanta. You about to get. I'm about to go back home. I know how to get back home. It's this way. They wasn't going to North for freedom. You had at least 6 or 7 northern states who were full-blown slavery going on. Full-blown. There was no freedom up north for Negroes. You either a free Negro or you were not a free Negro. I can show you more people of color who were free. I've shown y'all time and time again state senators of the most racist state in America, Mississippi. I've showed y'all Negroes in that same time frame becoming founders of cities. I showed y'all Mr. Montgomery. I showed y'all Mr. Weeksville up in New York, who established Bedford-Stuyvesant during the time of fucking slavery. So what they're telling y'all is incorrect information. 100-year Indian Wars happening. A lot of the ancestors were being captured, and being held in what is called work camps that you call plantations. Those are work camps because they're prisoners of war. They got caught. Europeans decide, hey, don't kill all of them. Catch these motherfuckers, put these niggas to work. Right. Put their ass to work on these plantations. And the only reason you say plantation because they told you it's called a plantation. It's actually just a factory. That big white house, like Massa House, is just a corporate office. That's what the fuck it is. That's it. Had those plantation houses be in modern times, you'll see these big little 8, 6, 7-story buildings for corporate offices. And the CEO of the corporation would be called Massa, better known as a planter. And the only reason Massa was the Massa because he had the ability to obtain credit. He can go to a lender and he can get shit on credit, or they will lend him money from the bank because he was a white landowner. See, this slavery gig ain't about what you think it is about. And I keep saying this shit. If slaves had an HR department, it never would have happened the way they told you it happened.
Right.
They had nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If they had an equal opportunity office or come on, man. But they were duped. So now these globs, tribes, bunches of individuals who could not fend for themselves were all captured and put into these slave camps.
They turned them into commodities.
And the other Indian tribes, like the 5 civilized tribes, the Europeans bought them niggas. They got bought out.
The $5 Indians. Yep.
No. This is what I'm saying, bro. The 5 civilized tribes were bought out by Europe. Like they paid them to fuck with them.
Right.
The $5 Indians come later when they start going out west to take over the territories out west during the 1849 gold rush. So let's look at North America into 3 sections. Let's look at the colonial period, which is the early 1600s to the late 1700s, right? Let's look at the war period, late 1700s to about 1865. Between 1776, the Revolutionary War, and 1865, not even 100 years had passed before they went to war again. This is the war era. This is the 100-year Indian War with the Indian tribes. The last stronghold was chief of the Natchez Indians, Turner. That was the last stronghold in South Carolina. I'm sorry, Suffolk, Virginia, Sussex County, they call it. That's the last stronghold. They fighting the whole time. These white boys got guns, lots of guns. Indians ain't got no guns. So what the British tribes do, they equip one tribe with guns to go push back the French Native American tribes, because the French start buying niggas off too.
Right.
Then the Spaniards start buying tribes off. Like, here, y'all take our guns. Here, take out. And they sat back and let the skirmishes happen amongst the Indians. So the 100-year Indian War ain't just with the Europeans. It's smaller tribes skirmishing with amongst themselves also.
And being
because this was a whole
tribes.
Right. Because you have to bear in mind, this was a whole fucking confederacy. This was a whole empire. But they don't teach us the information like they teach us in ancient Rome, like how ancient Rome had empires and the Byzantine Empire. No, it was the same. It was bigger over here. It's no different than the Ottoman Turks taking over the Byzantine Empire, the same way the Europeans took over our empire here.
Right. No, definitely. That is true. So true.
Let's look at this shit a lot bigger than polar donk Negroes picking cotton and getting their ass kicked. By the time our people start picking cotton, we were tired. That was it. We've been fighting for shit. All right, look. Just like in 2024, we just, all right, man, whatever, man. Every time trying to build something, y'all burn the shit down. So it's fuck it, man. We'll just go. We got to get along, go along.
Yeah, go along with the flow. Do what y'all say. That is true. Very true. It's actually in the Choctaw, in the history book of the Choctaw, Chickasaw, and the Natchez, when they talk about the treaties that they signed with the Spaniards, the treaties that they signed with the French and with the with Andrew Jackson, one thing that I noticed with each of these treaties, within the fine print or the documentation, it lies somewhere that states that they have to go to war against, like, you know, the other tribe. So like if in this case of the Choctaw, it's the Choctaw against the Chickasaw. or Choctaws and Chickasaws versus Creeks, Muskogees, stuff like that. And you know, Muskogees with the British, and then the Choctaws and Chickasaws siding with the French. In order to obtain their land rights and stuff like that, they have to pick a side, which is crazy. That's crazy.
But it makes sense though. It makes it, and that shit was happening all throughout the entire Midwest. And I remember reading the history. I'm gonna pull up in a second the history of Ohio. I forgot the European who they used to get the Indian chiefs drunk because the Native Americans never had no goddamn no whiskey or no bourbon or no gin. They never had that shit before. They called it firewater. They didn't know what it was. And you know, they became so addicted to the alcohol, they had to outlaw any European giving alcohol to Native Americans because Europeans were tricking them out of their fucking land left and right.
Right.
Had them sign. You call them treaties. These were not treaties. A lot of motherfuckers were what do you call them? Shit. Allodial titles. Those were allodial titles for the land, or what we may call a deed. They were signing over deeds to these Europeans.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Treaties.
That's the best term to look at it. Yes, that's a better term.
The treaties didn't come until the Indians were just tired of fighting. Like, hey, we've been fighting since goddamn 16, since y'all got here. Can we, let's take time out. Look, let's talk for a second. Y'all kicking our ass with these guns and shit in smallpox. We ain't got that for that. We ain't got no warfare. We got our tomahawks and spears and arrows. We're running out, nigga. That's when the treaties started happening. And then the treaties were with the American government. There were no treaties given hand to hand from no European to no Indian tribe. That never happened.
Right.
Never happened.
You can actually compare it to the other term you told me about. Well, we all know the term mortgage, but you could compare it to that theory though. The 30-year death sentence. When you're talking in terms of deeds, you know, not treaties, they're doing business transactions for their land, stuff like that.
Or let's look at it like this. You have Europeans from Europe. What was the European form of government? A monarchy.
Monarchy, yeah. Right.
King and queen. In a monarchy under the king and queen, you had lots of land that were called manors. On those manors, you had individuals called serfs who were bound to that territory for life. Over the serfs, you had a police class called knights. Over the knights, you had a class called the lords. And he was called the landlord or the lord of the manor. So let's pretend these Europeans brought that same ideology over to North America. And instead of calling them manors, they called them states and territories. So now Georgia is its own manor. And the lord of Georgia is the governor. And the Knights of Georgia is the state patrol, the sheriff, the GBI, so on and so forth. And then the serfs of Georgia are the citizens who have a geographical nomenclature called a zip code to where their manor is. And they're typically bound to that manor for life. That's what they did. This is what sets us up for the next story. Chief Tamachichi. Chief Tamachichi was the leader of the Yamakwa Indians, a prominent figure in the early Georgia history. As a principal mediator between native Creek, Muskogee, and British colonists, he contributed and established a peaceful relationship between two groups during the first year of British settlement. Now, this is the British people coming into Georgia at a particular time frame that Georgia was being overran from white runaways. These white runaways would run from the colonies because Georgia was not yet settled yet. Georgia was not settled yet. During this conversation with Chief Tamachichi, it was not settled yet. It was about to get ready to get settled because James Oglethorpe was getting permission from King George. That's why the territory is named Georgia. Don't believe a word I say. Go look it up. And in honor of King George, that's when James Oglethorpe called the territory Georgia. Little is known about Chief Tamachichi. In the absence of accurate document, born sometimes in the 1600s, he was likely Creek ancestry, and his father may have been Yamasee.
Oh, wow.
Even though Tamachichi was Yamakra, his father was Yamasee. And I can walk you back from the Yamasee all the way back to the Wichita, all the way back to the Oshitush, all the way back to Monk's Mound. I can walk you backwards in time through that if you want me to, also dealing with these words. In the 18th century, coastal Georgia native groups interacted frequently, sometimes becoming intertwined as new communities formed in the wake of the Yamasee War. Another war. Can y'all see that? Hold on. Let me blow it up a little bit.
The Yamasee War.
I want y'all to write that down. The Yamasee War. 1715 to 1717.
And it was one right before that too, the Tuscaroran War, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, sir. And that's why I made it plain earlier. 100-year Indian War. That's what I said earlier. 100 years of fighting is what I said. So between 1700 up until 1800, we can name you about 100 skirmishes, wars, or battles that popped off between Europeans and Indians, and between Indians and other Indians, at the hands of the Europeans starting this shit. So don't think it just came over here and just excavated our ass off the land. No, it was a lot that happened in between to get the numbers down. We have to keep in mind, man, this is the 1619 is when supposedly Europeans came to the shores of North America. According to their stories, about 200 years prior to that, they were dying off. Europe was just getting the numbers back up from the bubonic plague. We have to remember who the fuck they are. We're giving them too much credit. They were not seafaring people. Y'all giving them way too much credit. They were just coming over here, just pulling up. One knocking, no asking, just pulling up. And then us being the good-hearted people we are, hey man, pull up. You know, the Indians probably cooking out every day. Well, they had a grill. They had to cook. They ain't had no, it was cook out every day.
Every day.
Some venison, some trout, some bass. They on the grill every day cooking out. So these Europeans just pull up, European. Now, these Europeans in the 1700s, they ain't even got the first taste of salt yet. The Europeans in 1700 has not had their first taste of salt yet. Sugar just got crazy for Europeans. That's why they sent so many Africans to places like the islands for them sugarcane plantations. And then they would take the sugar canes and manufacture rum from that. And these Europeans would transport sugar and rum from the islands back over to Europe. Only one problem. The British Navy wasn't all that at the time. The Spanish Navy was pretty deep, but the British Navy wasn't deep until they defeated the Spanish. So while they was transporting all this sugar cane from the ancestors, picking this sugar cane all day and transporting this rum, they would get robbed by pirates. Black pirates. Taking that shit back to the land. Oh, y'all don't believe that shit. Go look it up. I'll show you. Yamasee moved south, strengthened their traditional relationship with Spain, basically. At the same time, many Creeks relocated to Chattahoochee River Basin to negotiate with the British, Spanish, and French traders. I told y'all, we're talking about these Native American tribes. These motherfuckers were in bed with Europe. So the ones I just named, bro, let me go back to them. The Creeks, who were negotiating with British, Spanish, and French traders. Still others preferred to break from existing groups and create communities that reflected their kinship networks, trade, policies, and politics. Within the context, Tamachichi formed his own band of Yamakra from the assortment of Creek, Yamasee Indians around 1728. Reasons for this split vary. Some scholars say that it was voluntary due to the internal political or policy dispute, with others suggested involuntary, that they were banished from the nation. Tamachichi splintered groups, approximately 200 people, settled on the bluffs of Savannah River because the location was believed to rest the place of the ancestors who were in close proximity to British soldiers. Chief Tamachichi and the Yamasee was on the Savannah River. They was on the shores of Georgia. If y'all not familiar with the shores of Georgia, they're let me show you. The Georgia Seafaring Islands.
Yeah, Georgia got islands. South Carolina got islands. People don't know that though.
This is where look at that. Right here. All on the coast right here. You was just saying? The Gullah Geechee.
Yep.
The Europeans came to these islands first. They didn't go in, they couldn't go inland. I told y'all that. All up the whole East Coast, all the way up to Virginia. They wasn't really on the shores of Virginia and Jamestown quite yet. They were hanging out on those islands. The Native Americans were too hostile. They had to get people like Tamachichi, interpreters who could speak both English and speak the native tongue, and who could convince other natives to come out there and fuck with them on their big yachts.
Facts, man.
These Europeans had changed.
No lies. Bro? Nah, I said you ain't telling no lies. Like, keep it a buck. Those who don't know,
they were out there in their big ass yachts. White boys had the big ass yachts out there. Like, hey, come kick it with us on our yacht. Drink some rum. Drink some fucking rum on our yachts.
Fernando de Soto, when he slid over here, he came over here, he said out of his own mouth, and it's according to his historical documentation, the people he encountered were of a dark skin complexion. A dark skin complexion. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Well, I think they said Columbus said the same thing though.
Yeah, Columbus said the same thing.
He said it looked like the Ethiopians.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Ethiopians.
Because they were dark brown and black and all of these different Crayola colors or whatever the case may be.
Damn. Crazy. All right, family. So listen. How long have we been on here? Yeah, about an hour 43. About time to wrap it up. What was I wanted to show y'all? You brought up DeSoto, and my mind racing in. I'm about to go into to Ponce de Leon and everybody else that was here. So we got Chief Tamachichi, 64 to 1741. He was the head chief of the Yamakra. I don't think we talked too much about King Philip or Metacom. Y'all need to write him down too. Now, what's interesting in these pictures, these are all dark-skinned people. When I was researching this shit, I'm like, whoa. Right here. This is Chief Metacom, aka Chief. There you go, right? This dark-skinned picture right here. Over in the corner. These are your brothers, your ancestors, the dark-skinned ancestors. Y'all trying to find black Indians. Chief Metacom, write him down. Also known as AKA King Philip. The King Philip Wars were part of the 100-year Indian Wars.
King Philip,
Dark-skinned brother.
King
Y'all
Philip
see him.
sir. Yes, sir. And it's
Indians.
true.
Go ahead.
The Narragansett peoples, they actually recall different accounts of the stories that they heard. You know, even though these stories are like fairy tales to them now at this point in time, but in each and all of these stories, they all consider King Philip to be a black man. Metacom is a black man.
Chief Medicom.
Me?
So y'all ain't got to do all that deep digging, trying to find relevant tribes. Nah, man. Oh yeah, they were giants. They're big people. Yep.
It's one
15,
more.
20.
Is one more that if you could pull up for them real quick, big dog. This is a black slave owner from the South. Her name is Marie Therese Medioy.
Hold on. Marie Therese Medioy. I said that right? Saying her right here.
Meteyyor. Her name is Coin. Her nickname is Coin.
Okay, so say it one more time.
Meteyyor.
Oh yeah, I know about her.
Coin.
She actually got it passed down to her.
Right, and she was ruthless.
Yes, sir. It's crazy to me that they don't talk about the black slave owners. It's a lot of them in Louisiana too, huh?
Yeah, in Louisiana, yes, sir. And then there's one, there's a Choctaw man. His name is Chief Tuscaloosa. Chief Tuscaloosa.
Hold on. The French and that's another thing too, fam. Y'all have to look up places like Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida was settled way before the British came over to the colonies. Like Spain and France been here, especially Spain. Spain came here in 1493 with Colombo. That's when Spain came here. So Spain been over here. Spain been had colonized. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. Remember, Spain owned Louisiana first, and Spain sold it to France. Then France, of course, sold it
under the table.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they got Britain mad. They all a bunch of sensitive Susies, honestly.
But you know what I'm confused about? Watch this. What was the Treaty of Paris?
According to state.gov, State Department, the Treaty of Paris was signed by U.S. and British representatives on September 3, 1783, ending the War of the American Revolution. Based on a 1782 preliminary treaty, the agreement recognized U.S. independence and granted the U.S. significant Western territory.
France gave the U.S. the Western frontier.
Right.
France owned all that shit.
Right.
What's the other dude name you said, bro? Chief Tuscaloosa?
Chief Tuscaloosa. Chief Tuscaloosa.
Chief Tuscaloosa. Tuscaloosa.
Right, so you see they give you a picture of a brown-skinned man. I just want everybody to disregard that. First off, Tuska means black. I mean warrior, and Lusa means black.
Really?
Yeah, but he was called Black Warrior. That was his name, Black Warrior. He pops up right there. Tuscaloosa means black warrior in the Western Muskogean language. The city Tuscaloosa in Alabama is named after
Great Black Warrior, governed and territorial chief. Damn.
Black Warrior. Black Warrior. We're trying to understand this shit. It's not a game.
Damn, bro.
When you got the M.O.I. up here cooking, the information he is giving y'all, it's not a game.
Nah, you fucked me up with that one, bro. Yeah, you fucked me up with that one, man.
Yeah, yo, it's real.
Well, you got me with that one. I've never heard of that. That is crazy. Chief Tuscaloosa. I know that's right.
Black Warrior. No, that's right.
That's
for
what's
real,
up, bro.
They got, this is why people got to understand. You got to put some respect on your ancestry. You got to put some respect on it. If not, then at the end of the day, you're not living for nothing really important. At the end of the day, to know where you're going, you got to know where you come from. How you gonna break the mental chains if you don't even know where they being shackled from? You get what I'm saying?
For sure. That nigga was 7'10". Damn.
That it could be a possibility. I wouldn't even know, but I know he was wilding. I know he was wilding. And one thing that I know about him that's real prominent is that when it's this Spanish man named Bloody O'Reilly. Basically, what he did was he outlawed slavery on the Choctaw and Chickasaw natives over there in Louisiana, Mississippi. When the French came along and started administering their own form of slavery, I forgot the term they gave to it. What he did was he invaded one of their camps, killed like 75 warriors. Him about 10 other warriors by themselves. Killed off 75 French by themselves.
Yo, hold on. You done fucking got me, goddamn. I'm over here. I'm listening to you, but I'm going down the fucking rabbit hole over here.
Yeah, that's a whole nother one.
Hold on.
For another one.
Let me show this shit real quick, y'all. This how hard bro don't fuck me up. No Diddy.
No Diddy.
No fucking Diddy on that. But hold on.
Yo,
pause,
son. Yo, dog, shit, you crazy, bro. You crazy.
Pause, nigga. Hold on. So look, Tuscaloosa, sorry, was a paramount chief of the Mississippian chiefdom, what is now known as the state of Alabama. So when I motherfucking tell y'all this was a whole kingdom, whole empire, bro don't brought y'all some fucking information about Chief Tuscaloosa, and y'all in the comments acting dead as hell. That's crazy. Let me show you how old this shit is. Chief Tuscaloosa was one of the paramount chiefs of the Mississippian chiefdom. So I asked myself, I said, what the fuck is I know what the Mississippian culture is. I'm thinking to myself, is the Mississippian chieftain part of the Mississippian culture? That shit part of the Mississippian period, which is 800 AD to 1600s.
Sir.
Chief Tuscaloosa was one of the primary chiefs of this empire. 800 AD to 1600, that's around the time your boy done pulled up. So De Soto and Cortez, they seen this shit because they came in the 1500s to see this shit. They had another 100 years before this even died down. So Chief Tuscaloosa being in Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Georgia, being part of the Mississippian period. The Mississippian period, we talked about it before, which comes out the tails of what's called the Woodland period and the Aharic period. The Aharic period is first, then the Woodland period, then the Mississippi period. Between the Mississippian period and the Woodland period, that's when the mounds start getting built all through North America. Monk's Mound and the other mounds. Mississippian people were horticulturists. I told y'all they are farmers. I told y'all who the fuck was picking the cotton and planting tobacco. Wasn't no goddamn Africans planting nothing because they don't know how to plant over here yet.
They have no knowledge of the land.
The Mississippian people were farmers, it says. It says horticulture. This is what a fucking farmer is. A green thumb person who can grow shit out of the ground. They're called horticultures, planters. These people that we're showing y'all right now were the primary farmers of the land. Not just growing cotton. They were growing tobacco. They were growing cabbages, collard greens, tomatoes, corn, green beans, raising hogs, shooting deers, catching fish. Look what it says, what they ate. And I'm gonna be gone with this shit right here. It said they ate corn, bean, and squash. Show me one black family from the fucking South that don't eat corn, beans, and squash today.
Come on, man.
You can't show me one.
Cook up.
So when you say we don't know what our native food is, it's corn, beans, and squash. My mama, still alive, my grandma, them make squash casserole. Beans, we eat pinto beans, field peas, black-eyed beans. We eat all the beans. Eat more beans than Puerto Ricans. Corn. Oh, we're going to have fried corn. We're going to have cream of corn. We're going to have corn on the cob. We're going to eat grits. We're going to eat cornbread. These are the same people. These are your ancestors.
Yes, sir.
These are your ancestors.
In fact,
this is soul food.
Y'all might have a grandmother or a great-grandmother or a grandpa or great-grandpa who still know how to get crazy in the field. And you can ask them, where you learn that from? They probably won't be able to tell you, but one thing I'll say is hereditary. That shit is hereditary. It's passed down genetically. They understand the land. Our ancestors left us with a gift, and that gift is being able to understand the land. It's just unfortunate that majority of it was striped away from us. So we kind of gotta take it back, and then regain our consciousness and our connection back.
Man, it's gonna be a cosmic connection, a divine connection, family. We appreciate y'all so much, man. We don't rocked out and gave y'all some jewels. My man Copper Color King came through again. Hey, go hit his TikTok up. Follow the brother. You got some jewels on there, man. I appreciate your time, bro.
Of course, man.
And we trying to hop on here for the past couple of days or whatever the case is. Like, we got to lock in, man. And got to start hitting people, hitting them in the gut. I want to get you up here for you to do your own PowerPoint, bro. Like, I want you to do your own, like a whole 30, 45-minute lecture if you can.
I can definitely give it a try. I have them on my channel. I was doing them on Zoom. I had got me a little desktop, whatever, started using the OBS, but I'm going to start rocking with StreamYard. Word.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying, if you have a PowerPoint ready, I bring you over here. You just go to stream.
Oh, okay. Even better.
Because I'm connected to what's the Facebook page? Information Age. They got a couple thousand people over there. Then Facts of a Fairy Tale Soul Keeper page. Like, I'm streaming on Facebook too, and on my Instagram channel.
Okay, yeah, we could definitely get into that.
So yeah, just let me know, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Of course, big dog. I appreciate you.
No problem at all. Once again, man, go follow the Copper Color King on TikTok, man. Tap in with my boy, man. We going the fuck off over there. I'm telling y'all. And I remember the first time I seen his content, I'm like, oh, I got a hit, bro. Hopped in his inbox, no diddy, and just hit him up like, bro, right? Hey, King, you saying this shit, right? He do. I'm telling him, he do. Matter of fact, Copper Color King, it's your homework for the weekend, bro. Start your YouTube channel. Don't worry about followers. We'll get your followers over there. We'll get your subscribers too. Don't worry about that. Make you a YouTube channel, bro. YouTube. Oh, there's a channel. He got a channel. He already on YouTube. Bro, we got to talk because I need your login and I can put it up here. We could have been screaming the whole time on your YouTube channel right now too, bro. Hit me, bro. Hit me tomorrow, man. Oh, they're ready for it. We badly need our coaches already here. We just give it. Yeah, we got to stop giving it because the Africans like, what y'all doing? We can dance around fire. We can twerk. We can do all that. The move, like it's just the people of Earth. It's in us. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for tapping in tonight, man. Appreciate y'all. Y'all rocked all the way out to the late night hour, man. Appreciate y'all. Peace, love, the mo to be. Y'all be easy. Have a great weekend. I'm out.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. You will not be able to plug in, turn on, and cop out. You will not be able to lose yourself on Skag and skip out for beer during commercials because the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you by Xerox in 4 parts without commercial interruptions. The revolution will not show you pictures of Nixon blowing a bugle and leading a charge by John Mitchell, General